Hello, hello,
Hello. We are excited. Can y'all tell? I mean, I'm sure y'all can feel the energy through the screen, y'all. We are so thrilled that you guys are here for our Pink into Pink night. And I just want you to know that whoever invited you here thought you were just the most special, amazing woman. You really, really did. So I hope that you know that just deep in your heart, that she sees something in you. And I think one of the coolest things that we get to do for each other as women is to see each other's greatness and actually voice it and say it. We don't do that enough. And I love that we do that in our sisterhood, right, ladies? In our community, that we get to call out the greatness in each other. And so she does see greatness. She does see some special things in you. And so she wanted you to see why she loves her Mary Kay business. And I'm just going to ask you guys, as y'all are hopping on, put in the chat where you're coming in from. We're like representing different states here, and you'll get to meet these amazing women in a minute. But we want to know about you. And I'm just going to ask you guys, I know that we live in a go-go world and that, you probably are distracted right now. We just had some distractions before we hopped on.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah. For these next couple of minutes, you guys, just be present, because I don't want you to miss what God has for you. And he has something for you. I don't know what it is, but he has something for you. So if you got to go lock yourself in the bathroom, the closet, the car for the next couple of minutes, I'm going to ask you, because you know what? This truly could impact the rest of your life. It really, really can. So what we want tonight is just to feel like a girlfriend time. So if you have, a water, or I always have like 10 drinks. Like my kids make fun of me. I got my tea, I got my water, I got all my stuff. But I want you to just feel like you're sitting like on the couch with us, and we're having some girlfriend time. We're having some chat. We're thinking about dreams. We're thinking about, what God has for us, our future, and all that. So it's just going to be a fun time together. So we have Diana and Cindy that are here with us. I missed the memo about the pink shirt, you guys. I'm sorry. We're still in purple and pink go together, right? But y'all just listen with an open heart and open mind. And before I ask Diana the first question, I want y'all to put in the chat, what do you want or need more of in your life right now? So think about this season that you're in, whether you're, single, whether you're married, planning a wedding, you have little babies at home, whether you are, an empty nester, or you're raising teenagers like I know I am in Sydney. So pray extra for us, okay? Whatever season that you're in, what do you want or need more of right now? All right. So speaking of seasons, Diana, why don't you start us off today and tell us a little bit about where you were when Mary Kay found you, and how many years ago was that? I know.
Oh my gosh, 38 years ago. Isn't that crazy? Yes, this is my 38th anniversary. I was 23 whenever Mary Kay came into my life against my will. It's so funny. I think back that everything in my life prior to 23 pushed me away from what I was truly designed to do, which was to be a national sales director with Mary Kay. It's what I was born to do, but I will tell you, I would have never bought that at 23. At that time, I was active duty in the Air Force. I designed and installed computer and telephone systems. I loved what I did. I had a top secret SCI clearance. I was the first woman to ever be selected to go into the particular job that I was in. So it all looked really, really good. I'm married to the best looking man ever. And took me a long time to convince him to marry me. But this was me right before I got started in Mary Kay. And the lady who watched our daughter was the lady who led me to the Lord. And Samantha was with her about 70 hours a week, because I worked rotating 12-hour shifts. So I'd work 4 days, a day and a half off, 4 nights. And then Tom worked opposite of that. I was gone about 10 days out of every month. I was at one base. Tom was at another. We lived in the middle. Sammy was 18 months old. Now she'll be 40 this year. How crazy is that? And then I had college courses. So my life was really full. And I remember I always laugh that on Tuesday, Wanda, the lady that brought me into Mary Kay, she was tired, crabby, and broke like me. And then on Wednesday, she started her Mary Kay business. And she's like, oh my gosh, Diana, you got to do Mary Kay. And some of you guests are like laughing, because this is your consultant. Like she's like getting on your last nerve. So I don't even know how many times. Somebody said, how many times did Wanda ask? And I said, as many as it took, because she knew more than I did about Mary Kay. I just had an image, and I didn't even like women at all. Washed my face with shampoo, wore no makeup. And so she just kept on and on. And one day I just got tired of her asking. And my favorite F words now are fun and faith. That however, was not my go-to word back in the day. And so I dropped an F-bomb, and she cried, and I felt guilty. And that Yes, is how I ended up where you're at. So I don't know if you had to go through all that drama. It took a lot of drama for me to get there. And this is what happened. And it is my prayer that this is what will happen to you tonight. Is that the ladies were talking and they talked about being 6-figure work from home moms. And I remember thinking, surely to the Lord, if I could design a computer system, I could figure out where blush went. But I almost couldn't even connect that dot. And then they were telling these stories, this life. You know, Amy, you asked the question, what do you need more of at this time in your life? Well, at that time, obviously, I needed time. And, you know, people say you can't make more time. And I think that that's a lie. You absolutely can, because the more money you make, the more you can pay other people to do the things that don't your relationship with the Lord, with your family, with your key people in your life. I think that that is a lie. The same thing that poor people say that money can't buy love, right? But money can't pay, but love can't pay the mortgage. And so, do you know what I'm saying? Can't take care of aging parents, can't pay for private school, can't do all of that. And so I think that there's a lot of things out there that people say to justify remaining the same. And if that's where you're at and that's where you want to be, I am grateful for you, but I was not. I'm the first woman in my family to graduate high school. My dad was born in a tent. My grandparents were sharecroppers. I grew up around a lot of poverty, a lot of love, but I also know that love didn't pay the bills, right? And I lived in that stress. And the reason I share that with y'all is that my dad did a phenomenal job retiring from the military and getting us out of poverty, you know, physically. But what remained was the poverty mentality. And I always knew I was different. Like, my parents just looked at me like I had 3 heads, like, because I always knew that there was more. Like, I always knew that. I just didn't know what to do. But so I followed in my daddy's footsteps. I turned down college scholarships, 17 years old, went into the military, and it all looked great. And the problem is that dream life was my parents' dream life for me. And it looked really good for a while until Tom and I got married and until we had our daughter, and she spent her first 7 weeks in neonatal ICU. And that was a wake-up call for me. And when I was there that night, I bet you wondered how I was going to get back, but that's pretty good for 6 weeks, isn't it? But I remember that night that they talked about how important it was for them, and no judgment on any other mom, but for them to be at home from 3 to 6. They called it the golden hours. And then it all made sense. Like, the confident woman that I was because my mama stayed home and she was there every afternoon for me to be able to plug in and go through all of that. My challenge at 23 was I wanted that time, but I was wired for big time career. And I had never until that night seen a woman that was either making or going after 6 figures a year and still was the primary influence in their children and had passionate, amazing marriages. Like, I'd never seen it till that night. And y'all, I got started that night. To my surprise, they offered something. I bet your consultants got something for you. And went home and told my husband, I said, I'm doing Mary Kay. And he could use the F word as a noun, verb, and prepositional phrase. And so could I. So it was a little hot in the Sumter household that night. And but I can remember walking out that night, and I will land the plane in just a second. I just want to kind of set the table for all the things that you're going to hear that we were able to do with Mary Kay. How quickly that almost didn't happen. You know, over 4 million in commissions. Wow, who could have ever thought that coming from, you know, the 900 square foot block home? That's a tribute to Mary Kay's marketing plan. And then here's our family. This is me and Tom when we first got married. And this was, you know, writing a check for our granddaughter's car and being able to take the girls. We went to London. No, you know, we didn't have to worry about that. When my parents came, when my parents got older, to be able to be there for them. My dad, the last year of his life with Alzheimer's, was able to stay with us. And I think about, what if I had listened to the fears? What if I had listened to Tom? What if I'd listened to all those people that said, I had a friend try Mary Kay and her face fell off and they were front loaded with product and all this other stuff. What if I had listened to them? I could have never seen all these places Mary Kay style. And we want this for you. It's not just for me. It's for anybody that wants to be able to do this and to be able to travel all over. Amy and I are headed off to Alaska. Mary Kay is leasing reserving a ship just for us. And we're not just going on a cruise. Like, the whole ship is just national sales directors and their guest. And we're going to be going there. So we're going into Vancouver for a couple of days prior, and we don't have to think about that. And the reason I say that is that there is a dream life. We live in a world that seems so crazy and that there's limitations everywhere. But I believe that if you're with the right company and the right leadership, that anything is possible. I think of Amy Allgood. She was like, seriously, 3 years old when she came into Mary Kay. I mean, I remember when she joined. I mean, seriously, like I'm her aunt. We're like related in the company. Not really, but in Mary Kay we are. And I watched her come up, and she was this young, beautiful, charismatic, amazing girl that went from just getting started where you're at tonight to the $1 million club. I mean, like you can count on like your hands and feet of the women who've done that. And she did that and then said, you know what? I think I'm going to leave from the top position as a national sales director. And guess what? She did it. And so for y'all that are getting started, you're going to be trained by truly one of the Mary Kay icons for decades. And we're so excited, Amy, for you and Cindy. Oh my gosh. Did you know that I would not even be a national sales director without Cindy? She took care of my people in Tyler, Texas. She never got paid a dime, treated my people as if they were her own. She truly was Mary Kay Ash personified. I'm telling y'all, the leadership and the way that these women live their life, I would join just to learn from them, just for them to be friends with me, just for my daughter and granddaughter to be mentored by these women. Lucky you that you would get to learn from these. And Cindy, I'd love to know from you, like, how did Mary Kay come into your life and how did you get to where you're at?
Okay. Oh, your story. I love your story, Diana. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love how it's just filled with so many dreams, and that you made those dreams a reality through just a decision you made when you were 23 years old, kind of in protest,
Yes.
But you saw something in them that you desired, that God had put in your heart at that young age, and that you had the courage, even though you didn't wear makeup, even though you didn't really like women, like you and were raised kind of with that poverty mentality, that you took the courage to say yes to this business, not knowing if you would be good at it, but knowing you needed more and you wanted more for your family. And you want to be able to be home with that little girl of yours. And so how awesome is that? So I was young and single when I started. I was teaching school. I was living month to month on my paycheck. I was 27 when I started. I think all of us started in our 20s on here. And I really never in a million years would I have imagined that Mary Kay would have been the answer to my prayers, not only to provide an income for me and get me out of that credit card debt that I had gotten myself in, but also a career of a lifetime. Literally found my calling, just like we all have in this business. But I was invited to a launch party, went to the launch party kind of in protest too. I was like, you're young and cute, what are you doing? Like, I thought it was for women with big blue hair and wore gobs of makeup and went door to door, and I didn't wear makeup either. I wore Carmex and mascara on a good day. But I went to the party to be supportive, found out about the product. I was like, wow, this is some good stuff. It's not like just my grandma's makeup. Like, this is good stuff. And then the director started sharing about the business, and everything she said impressed me, everything. And I kept asking question after question, trying to find something wrong, and I couldn't. And finally I asked her, when you're broke, that's, all you think about is money. And so I asked her, I thought, this is a stay-at-home mom with 3 kids and she sells lipstick. She can't possibly make that much more money than me, which kind of funny. I'm a stay-at-home mom with 3 kids and I sell lipstick now. But but I asked her how much she made, and when she told me, I got mad because it was 4 times what I made as a teacher. And I was like, I'm educating the future of tomorrow, and you're selling lipstick and you're making 4 times what I'm making. I thought there's something wrong there, but I thought it was all about the product. Now, don't get me wrong, the product is amazing. It's the reason nobody can guess our age. When you told me how old you are, I was like, I would never have imagined that, right? And so, but it really, honestly, don't y'all agree that it's the vehicle that Mary Kay uses to enrich women's lives? Yeah. Like, to give a woman an unparalleled opportunity where she can get what she wants out of life, but still keep the things that she valued. And one thing that Brenda shared with me 23 years ago. I just had my 23rd anniversary on Valentine's Day.
Wow.
She shared with me 23 years ago. She shared that when Mary Kay founded this company, she founded it on the priorities of putting your faith first, your family second, your career third, living by the golden rule. She took the Lord as her business partner, and that impressed me because that is the order that I desire to live my life in. And I know you came to know the Lord because of this lady that was in Mary Kay, right? And many people have come to know the Lord through the vehicle of Mary Kay. And I knew the Lord, but I was not walking with the Lord when I started this business, and I was not living my life in those priorities. And so that really impressed me because teaching in a public school system, it was teaching first, teaching second, and God who. And I wasn't even supposed to say Merry Christmas to my kids. I did, but I was supposed to. And so I love the fact that Mary Kay mirrors the way that I want to live my life. And because of that, God has really transformed this business. Diana and Amy knows this, from a business where I could provide for my family, make a executive income, raise my own kids, but it also has been transformed into a ministry as well in my mission field. And so my mission in Mary Kay is to enrich women's lives externally through this product and change faces. Because when women look good, we feel good, right? I love helping women build their confidence through the way that they look, but also through this journey in Mary Kay and growing from the inside out and changing lives, right? Externally or internally. And then also, of course, sharing, ministering the hearts of women and changing eternal addresses. And so that's my mission in this business. I started for the money and to be able to get out of debt. But I stay for so many other reasons.
Well, let's talk about the money, y'all, because I know everybody on this chat, y'all need money for something in your life right now. So I'd love for y'all to put that in the chat. Like, what is it right now? What if you had an extra $1,000 a month, or if you could significantly change your income, how would life look different? And maybe you haven't even thought about that recently. I love Diana and I's position as national sales directors. NSD stands for Never Stop Dreaming. And I think about my new director, Alicia, and how she talks about that all the time, and how Mary Kay helped her to learn to dream again. And now that's her mission and passion, is to help other women to be able to do that. So Diana, tell me, what on your journey has Mary Kay helped you finance? Maybe early on in the business, when it was part-time, and then maybe what's something bigger over the course of years that you're most excited that this has helped finance for you?
Absolutely. Well, the night I got started, it was $100 to get started, and it didn't go through. But back in the day, like you could, you floated it, and a little bit of time to get that cleared up. So I was $35,000 in debt without a house. That was in 1986. And so that's like the equivalent of like 100,000 now, whenever you take a look at that. And my husband didn't know about it. And because when you have a really high security clearance, you cannot have financial issues. So I'm living in this debt, this burden. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. It was crazy. And so earned the use of our first career car in 8 months, even with that crazy schedule, because I'm just trainable. I think the thing that helped me was I knew nothing. Like, I knew nothing about running a business. I knew nothing about working with women. I knew nothing about makeup. So it made me a good student. And I love to learn. Who are the learners out there? Like, I love to learn about anything all the time. And so Mary Kay really just like scratched that itch on learning. And so we earned the use of our first career car. And I will tell you, the career car for our part-time directors, those directors, leaders that want to, serve in their Mary Kay business, say 18, 20 hours a week. That's really what I did. But when we earned the use of that car, tags, title, license, car payments, a portion of the insurance paid for, we were able to trade 2 cars in on one, and we finally got ahead of that. That $35,000 was without cars. I mean, that was straight up credit cards. And so when we were able to do that, then that started us toward the journey of becoming debt free. The other thing that Mary Kay taught me was this, that because of the way that I was raised, I had a lot of hangups with money, a lot. And that not only did Mary Kay give me, I believe, the greatest opportunity, a pure direct sales marketing structure where the company does compensate if you grow the company, the 50% commission, you can't beat that. But what it really taught me was how messed up I was about being abundantly wealthy or having huge impact because I wasn't raised that way. So it took me a while, although I made great money. It went up over 6 figures after my 5th year in Mary Kay. But I qualified to kind of go back. I earned my first car in 8 months. 3 months later, I debuted as a sales director. Again, that's the top 1%. You grow your team to about 25 to 30 people. Well, I was making 3 times more than I was in my Mary Kay than I was in the military. And I qualified for an early out. Back in the day, you could get an early out. So it legitimately changed the trajectory of our life. Now, I will tell you, Amy and I, we talk about this, that as a national, we have a family security program, which is a retirement. And so for y'all that are sitting there and financially you might be in a good place, or maybe, you know, you're not looking at that. What I loved was my husband decided to stay in to retire. And I'm just going to kind of compare the two pretty quickly. So when my husband retired, he retired at 40 years old, and he's never worked again. He's had several back surgeries. So praise the Lord, I had built my Mary Kay so that he could come to work with me. His goal was always to go to work for the post office, but his back would have never been able to do that. So I'm so grateful I built this business. So he worked with me in the business. I fired him. He quit. Most of it kept our marriage very spicy and all of that. So there was that. But he did not have to go get another job. So now if he, because he's retired military, if something happens to him, he loses all of his VA disability. Okay. And I would only get about half of his retirement, only because we've paid in every single month in an insurance to be able to do that. And then if something happens to me, our daughter gets nothing. Still not a bad deal. It's fine. But if you look at Mary Kay, I was 23 whenever I got started. Remember, I told you I had to really work on my head. I was not like Amy. Amy, she's just brilliant and smart and got just great thoughts and all of that. It took me a while. It took me 16 years to become a national sales director. Now, the cool part about national is you serve for 15 years. I could have retired 8 years ago. And so anytime that you're reached that 15 years or 65, they ask us to retire at 65. Let me tell you what happens is that we have what's called the Family Security Program. So take a deep breath and listen to this. Mary Kay will then pay whenever you retire. They will take 60% of your national sales director commissions, and they pay that amount to your family for 15 years, even if something happens to you. Something happens to Tom and I, Samantha gets nothing from the military, but she gets 15 years of my retirement. It doesn't change. Mary Kay's committed to my estate for 15 years. If I passed away right now as a national sales director, active national, Mary Kay would pay my estate $200,000. That not only that we get the title to an Escalade, that whenever we retire, we also get 3 more trips afterwards. And then the best part, I think, is what's called the legacy program, that whenever I retire, I'm able to give my unit, which last year did almost $700,000 in sales. I can give those streams of income to my daughter whenever she's a sales director. Y'all, that's a family security program designed by a woman for women. It can be as little as you want. It can be as big as you want. Our number one national, Patricia Turker, will retire at over $50,000 a month. A month. Oh my gosh, that's what Amy and I are working on. A month for retirement. Oh my gosh. And if it can happen anywhere in the Mary Kay world, it could happen to you. And y'all will stand on our shoulders, and you'll be able to take this to even greater heights. The mission is to have women retiring at $100,000. We have several women that make over $100,000 a month, but to retire at that, oh my gosh, do you want to be a part of that?
You know, oh my gosh, I love so much of everything that you said, but I love that you talked about being teachable and coachable, because I think sometimes, you know, people can hear things and they're like, man, I would love all that, but like, could I do that? Like, how can you do that? And when you were talking about that, I know Cindy, you would agree too. None of us knew anything about how to run this business, how to do that. Some of you maybe even had business experience, but really Mary Kay, almost 62 years now, has this plan, and they teach you and they train you, and you have mentorships like us. And I think so many times what I have seen is so many people in the world now wanting to be entrepreneurs, or right, like that's such a thing. But then they're trying to figure it out they're trying to figure it out on their own. Right. So I want to touch on just really quick some of the finance stuff that I experienced, and then I'd love y'all to talk about that piece, the sisterhood, the mentorship, you know, of what women can get in if they would do that. And we'll kind of wrap up with that. But I think early on, you know, I was planning a wedding, and one of the things that always stood out to me is I wanted this like beautiful fairy tale wedding, and I wanted these seat covers, and my mom and I would argue about the seat covers because she's like, you don't need that. And it was that mentality, Diana, of like that poverty of like, what can you get by? And I was like, no, I want it all. And I don't want to have to sacrifice that. And so I love that I could go hold 2 appointments in Mary Kay and pay for those seat covers. And then so I saw that early on. If I wanted to pay for something or I wanted something, I could have that. I didn't want to go, I could choose this or this. I was like, no, I want this and this. Mm-hmm. So if you're in that place that you're living and you feel like I can either go on vacation or I could put my kid in that sport. No, I want you to know it doesn't have to be either or. It can be both and. If you're willing to work for it and you're willing to be taught by women who genuinely care for you. And then the big thing, I always still teach this today, that we have 2 eyes. Right now, we all need money for bills. We need money for specific things right now, but then we should keep this other eye on the long term. What are those dreams? What are those things that you've in your heart, like you're like, I really want this. And some of you maybe are even doubting if that is possible. For me, I always wanted a home on the water. That was like early on. And so I kept that eye and kept doing that. And by the time I was age of 37, we were able to buy our home on the water. And so now I do live in this dream. I can look from 3 different angles in my home and see water everywhere. And so I always kept that vision. So some of you are just probably trying to survive and making that money right now. But once you get into this and you're in this environment with this sisterhood and these women who do think bigger, they will stretch you and you will start to dream again. You will start to change that abundant mindset. You know, and I think of John 10:10. God did come to give you an abundant life, and it's abundance in your heart. It's abundance in your mind. It's that eternal, external, internal. So Cindy and then Diana, I want to hear from y'all. What about this sisterhood? What about this mentorship? Because it is so special and so unique.
Well, and I think that abundant life, that rich life, it involves who you surround yourself with, right? And the rich relationships that you have in your life. And so, honestly, I think that's been the biggest blessing. Don't y'all agree? That has come in your starter kit is the relationships that you've gained in this journey. I would have never met Diana. I would have never met Amy. Amy's in Florida. Diana's in Nashville, Tennessee, right? I would have never met them. They would have never been a part of my life. All my consultants, most of them, I would have never met them if it wasn't for Mary Kay. All my top director girlfriends, I would have never met them if it wasn't for Mary Kay. And so I think that we're like the people that we surround ourselves with. You know, it's said that you're like the 5 people you surround yourself with. And so if you are surrounding yourself with people with the poverty mentality that we've been talking about, if you're surrounding yourself with energy suckers, with negative people, right? Poor people, whatever, ugly. Just saying, that's who you're going to be like. And so I think part of that friendship and that sisterhood aspect is that's part of your personal growth in this journey. Because you become better because of the people that you, or worse, right? Because of the people that you surround yourself with. And the sisterhood is unparalleled. I mean, it really is the community, the connection, the culture that Mary Kay founded almost 62 years ago when she founded this business of empowering godly women that praise you to success, right? That's who you become in the journey, and you become more confident. You become, you have, the larger the influence, the more impact that you have on, people's lives. And so thankful for the friendships and the connections that I built in this business. Diana, what about you? Like what has been the best part of the sisterhood for you?
Wow. I have to tell you, after listening to you, I'm like ready to join. That is so good. It is such a reminder, of who we become. And I think because I am older, what I see now is what I'm the most grateful for is who I became in the process because of who I was surrounded with. So it allowed our daughter, where I'm a type A power, I love to win. Our daughter is the most laid back human being on the planet. Her love languages are quality time and just laid back. And what Mary Kay did was it taught me, in fact, Cindy, we were talking about one of the things I taught whenever I was in Tyler was different personalities. And what Mary Kay taught me how to do was to really embrace who Samantha became. So now she is like this confident, amazing woman. Then I look at our granddaughter and she is fearless. And I shudder at the thought of what if whenever I got started, people said no, or they changed their mind, or they did all of that. What if I had taken advice from people that I wouldn't trade places with? I would have never been able to go on the journey that I needed to. And, I think about our nationals, for y'all that are on this, and you're like, if there's a top position, that's where I'm headed. And right now, I think about it, Amy and I laugh about this all the time, because you have nationals that are in their 20s all the way up to their 60s, and every kind of personality. And like literally, we would fight fire for each other, but we could not be more different. Like, you have every culture, every age. When I came in, I had such a critical eye. So like, I could come in and tell you everything was wrong, and then I would tell you everything was wrong. And then I realized, right, that maybe that's not the best communication skills. And so now through the years, like, I'm like the puppy dog of Mary Kay, like I'm the happy, positive one, but that's not where I started. So it gives you so much empathy. And then to wrap up my part of this, if you're on here, you know what, I would challenge you to get started, because right now there's an opportunity. Like, I was trained by Mary Kay Ash. I sat in her living room. I was trained by her and Richard, and it's part of how I'm introduced all the time. And what it does is it makes me unshakable of whatever anybody says about Mary Kay. I'm like, I'm not buying that, because I heard it from the founder. So it doesn't really matter what you say, right? And so you all have an opportunity right now, guests who are on here, new consultants that are on here, that you all can, in the next couple of months, you can debut, grow your team to 24. It's just 5 people a week hearing about how we make money in Mary Kay. Do that in February and March. And then you have 5 in April and May, and you help your team 5. It's just a strategy of 5 people just to listen, right? We're not trying to recruit people, just listen. And then they can grow, they can be a part of your team. When you debut, there's as a sales director, guess what can happen is you get an invite to Dallas, Texas. Mary Kay's giving you $500 to be able to go there. They're putting you up at a hotel by yourself. You don't even have to have a roommate. Like, you could bring somebody special. You could create this amazing experience for some people around you. You're going to be trained by the top people in Mary Kay. You're going to make girlfriends. I still have girlfriends. I went to new director training education, sitting in Mary Kay's living room 37 years ago. Oh my gosh, you're talking about changing the trajectory of your life. And then Ryan Rogers, the CEO and Mary Kay's grandson, who Mary Kay chose. I remember Mary Kay talking to him. I remember Ryan being at his first event. I remember being with Ryan, being on advisory boards with him. Like, I feel like I am like his aunt. Like, y'all are going to get to learn from him. Where else in the world would you be able to go to an event that you're being taught by the CEO and president of a multi-billion-dollar company that operates in 35 countries to get that kind of insight? Y'all, I wish I could rejoin now and be able to be a part of that. Don't miss out. If you've ever thought, I want to be a part of something, come be with us for a year and see where you're at. I promise you'll be changed from it.
I love that. And I just want to reiterate that, you guys, what Diana just said is so powerful. First of all, they've never done this before. Okay. Nope. So you would get, this is so exclusive, y'all. So there's urgency. And I just want to say, if you're on here listening or watching now, you're supposed to be on right now. You're not supposed to be on 2 years ago. You're not supposed to be 2 years from now. It is right now. And God has specifically done that. You know, if you're a believer, like, there are no accidents, right? Like, everything he does is so on purpose. So I just want to say, like, where do you want to be a year from now? Just like Diana said, and if 1 year from now you'd want to be a better version of you, then the answer is yes. You can't afford not to do this. We don't know, like I said, how teachable and coachable you are. If you are, you can't make a lot of money like we have. Yep. But either way, if you would say, I would want to be a better mom, a better wife, a better friend, more confident, more self-aware, then this is the place, the safest place to grow, but also to be stretched, to become and really reach that God-given potential. So Cindy, wrap up, tell them, I know they're all wanting to join us. How could you not? After hearing this, we're all ready to join.
So excited to share with you guys. If you are that person that's like, I want to be better than I am. I'm going to be better than I want to become a better version of myself. And I'm willing to give it a year to try this out. You can actually start your Mary Kay business for as little as $35. What? $35. You can start your business as an e-start. You get your website, your ProPay, which is your credit card processing. You get all the back office stuff, all the education, and you get us. Like, we like magically jump out and be like, we're your mentor, right? You get your very own personal business coach and mentor that will give you the tools that you need and take you every step of the the way for $35. That's not going to change your pocketbook very much, but it could absolutely change your life, just like it has for the three of us and the millions of women and men all over the world that have been impacted by a Mary Kay business. You can enhance your option. You can upgrade if you choose to. You have 15 days to upgrade to the $90 starter kit, which is our Pro Start package, and that comes with over $400 worth of full-size product, plus a cute little bag, sales aid samples, a little flip chart, mirrors, all the things. And so you have an option to do that as well. We love choices. So with that being said, I want you to just drop in the comments. You're going to say either an A, a B, or a C, okay? And we love decision makers, and we want you guys. You've heard the information. We want you guys to make a decision if this is for you or not for you, a good fit. A is absolutely sign me up. $35. I don't know if I'm going to be good at this, but the worst thing that can happen is I get my product for 50% off. I mean, seriously, that's what I thought. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be good. Like, I don't know if anything about this, but I'm never unless I try. Okay. And it was $100 for all of us to start. Now it's 35, y'all. Seriously. Or you might be a B, like, oh, I have some questions. You've got my mind kind of thinking, right? Let's book me for an MK Q&A because I got a few questions and I want to get some more clarity. Okay. So that's a B. Okay. I hope everybody's going to be at least an A or a B, especially if you haven't really had your questions answered with Mary Kay. And a C. A C is the person like, I do not mind paying full price. I don't need any extra money. I'm happy, completely happy with who I am today. I'm good. I love supporting my Mary Kay consultant. Okay. And that's a customer. And we love our customers. We would not be in business if we wouldn't have our customers. So drop A, B, or C in the comments. Make sure you let your Mary Kay consultant know. We love you so much. And thank y'all for listening.
Hey, guys. Bye, everybody.
Bye.